everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Chris and Haley.
Hello.
Checking in with another video, guys. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk about a very interesting topic for those that are interested in moving to Germany, and it's focused directly on employment opportunities. And she and I basically have gone out and on our private time and talked about how difficult it is to get a job here. And now I see that a lot of people that want to move to Germany, you know, because there's this notion that Corona is ending, but there's a lot of stuff that we've gone through in terms of what it feels like to get a job here. So I want to ask her, because she's been here for 7 years, about what her experience is, the professional opportunities that she's had, and we're gonna go back and forth and have a conversation. So if you like videos like this, folks, on this channel, I like to talk about culture exchanges, language acquisition, and then also invite amazing people like Haley on this channel. These are veterans, the queen basically of the American space here in Germany. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so are you ready to be interviewed?
I am 1000% ready.
Okay, let's start. The first question I have here was, what was your first professional engagement after arriving in Germany, and what were your challenges?
Okay, so the first technical, professional, I don't know if you could call it that, experience would be me as an au pair. I made 265 euros a month. I worked maybe like 20 to 25 hours a week, and it was more of a cultural exchange with a little monetary incentive involved. I think money was one of the biggest challenges, and that caused a lot of issues for me regarding, you know, how do you say, work-life balance and everything, because I felt like you can't get another job. That really hindered me in making more money and wanting to be able to be a little bit more free. I was mostly attached to the family, or the families, because I worked for multiple families as an au pair. I was basically attached to them without the means to make more or to just reach more. And so I think that was one of the biggest hurdles to get out of this 265 euro bubble that I was in.
Okay. If you had to grade or rate your overall pursuit of jobs in Germany, would you say it was positive or negative throughout the 7 years that you've lived here?
Finding a job in childcare, easy for me.
Okay.
Very easy, because I was a native English speaker. I worked in a kindergarten before. I had experience. I worked as an au pair, I worked as a nanny, because I also worked as a nanny on top of an au pair. Like, I switched. But childcare, amazing. Getting out of childcare was the most difficult. Yes. It was the most struggle that I've ever experienced in my life, especially as an educated individual. Like, having an education, sometimes you can find jobs, you know, in the United States, let's say, you can find, even if it's an assistant here or doing this there, you can sort of find a job and hopefully make it work. Here though, it wasn't happening, or you had to have some sort of connection. And I just, I didn't have those connections. I wasn't German. I don't know, I didn't have that thing that some people are just lucky to find. I
got here, I have a master's degree essentially, and when I got to Germany, I applied for 300 jobs, guys, not even kidding. The only jobs that I was able to find was either an English secretary or in childcare, and that's basically what I was doing. So I was a French teacher basically for a year and a half, and it was an amazing opportunity for someone who has a master's degree coming to this country and being told that the only thing that you can do, because you know, you don't have the qualifications, or you don't have the Weiterbildung or what is it? A Weiterbildung or Ausbildung that says you're a marketer, you can't get a job in marketing. And I feel like that's so limiting. So basically, what I want to ask you then is, since we both live in Munich, how would you describe the job market here in Munich, and who do you think it's best fit for? So basically, you and I had the challenge of coming to this country and only being in English speaking help type of jobs. Who do you think Munich's market's best for?
Specialized individuals. I think people, that's a special, because a lot of people, they like, because I've had this argument before with a few people in my comment section as well, and they're like, no, you can find a job here, Haley. So-and-so moved here, and so-and-so has this job, and they make so-and-so amount of money. And I'm like, but they're also a specialized individual, meaning they're an engineer for a specific market or a blue card. They have a specific, very specific niche that makes them a lot of money, so they are successful. But if you're just trying to, you and I, you have a degree, whether it's a master's, bachelor's, you went to school. If it's not the German, how do you say?
Tech or hardcore sciences like engineering.
If you're not into that field, it's going to be very competitive.
I agree.
Very competitive. And that's what a lot of people, they say, and I say this all the time, be very careful, because you will how do you say, overextend yourself with applying, and you may be desperate and then you accept something because they say, well, your qualifications aren't that good, but we can offer you this position with this amount of money, because it's happened to me before.
It's happened to me as well?
Yeah, that's happened to me where they say, oh, well, you don't have what we exactly need, but we do like your resume, we do like your application, so we can offer you it at a fraction of the pay. Exactly. And I'm like,
and you know what? It's interesting that you raise this point, Hayley, because for people that come to this country, especially that are not from the European Union, for example, from America, for other countries that want to get a visa, in this case, when you're here for the first 90 days, taking up this type of job is actually not a bad deal. Do you think? Do you agree?
No, I think it's okay. It's also okay for you to understand what the German work marketplace is like. Because a lot of people, they come here, especially as Americans or people that are not from Europe, they come here thinking, oh, it's going to be like the United States, or it's going to be like where I come from. That's not the case. I know. And you need to, I guess, have experience. So it's a good way to gain knowledge, gain experience, but it's just like getting past that point.
Yes, I agree.
That's the hard part. Getting in here is easy.
It's easy, yes.
But it's like getting further.
And staying here.
Yeah, and staying here.
Hayley actually said something in one of her videos. She said it's not getting here is not an issue. It's finding a job. The visa is not even an issue, honestly.
No.
You come here, you can get the visa as long as you got a contract.
Yep.
Getting the contract is the hardest thing.
Yep.
So basically that actually leads to my next question. So as you just basically mentioned, you know, Munich's industry, particularly like overall in Bavaria, is really focused on the automotive industry and hardcore sciences.
Yep.
So my question to you, Hayley, is what limitations do you think people who studying non-science and tech-related majors in college face when trying to secure employment here in Bavaria, and how should they go about overcoming these challenges if they hope to stay here?
So I think that, so for, let's say, specific science-based jobs, engineering-based jobs, a lot of times, if they're looking for a particular person, they may, how do you say, overlook a few, I wanted to say a few missing elements to your resume.
Right.
They say, oh, well, you don't have this, but you do have this. Oh, we need a coder, but you don't do that type of coding, but you do this, and we can't find anyone else, or back-end development. And that means you are put into a very competitive pool.
Okay.
Because what do you have?
Right.
I mean, you're different because you're educated, you speak multiple languages, so you have something to offer. But if you're someone like me that only has like the basic education, just a bachelor's degree, you speak, I would say good, mediocre to decent German, English, that's it.
My main issue with the job market here is I feel like there's not a lot of room for you to grow. I feel like when you come to this country, they expect you to be a marketer. They expect you to be an engineer, a psychologist. For example, your bachelor's needs to be psychology. Your master needs to be psychology. Your internship has to be psychology. It's not like in America where, for example, you can be a YouTuber, you can be a garbage person. You could be someone who worked in Red Lobster like I did, and you have different elements of a very diverse career trajectory that say diverse and relatable, but Germans, I feel like in the job market here, it doesn't really do well with risks. What advice would you give to someone that would have to overcome the challenges that we have in terms of coming to this country, not having a specific degree in science? I mean, I studied languages and art and culture, and I could only work as a teacher here, you know. What would you suggest?
You have to think outside of the box, and you have to, I think, also take away your pride in the sense that I am this type of person. Like, even if you were, like, let's say I worked and I did this in the United States, I was this successful here, I was this successful there. You need to get rid of that, eliminate that, and say, okay, I'm starting from scratch and I'm starting from the beginning, and how can I build my way or work my way up to the top here? But it is true that I feel like also there is a cap. Or I used to work in a kindergarten, and the lady...
Kindergarten?
Yeah, in the kindergarten.
You say it. Yes, German.
I used to work in the it's very hard for me to say I can't even say, how do you say it in English?
Kindergarten.
Oh my gosh, kindergarten. I can't
You've been
say
here
it.
for a while. Kindergarten.
I can't say, even when I'm in the United States, I'm like, kindergarten, and they're like this, and I'm like, oh, kindergarten. But even then, one of the ladies, like my superior, she was like I don't even know how you would call it, the lady that lighted the kindergarten. She reached her peak of money. She talked about this, is that she couldn't make any more. She was at like the max capacity, but she still had to work like, I would say 10 to 15 years. She still had more years left, but she wasn't gonna make any more money. And usually in the United States, it's like you can, usually every year, you know, a little 0.1% raise, 3% raise here and there.
So be humble, you said.
Be humble and don't expect to have the same, I guess, treatment as you would where you're from in your specific field. Because like you said, in the United States, we sometimes get, how do you say, pushed or promoted based on just how we are as an individual, nothing to do with education, nothing to do with
everybody's a winner.
Yeah, everyone's a winner, and then they will just like push you. They say, oh, I like your personality, you do this one, you do that one.
In Germany, that is not the case.
No, in Germany, did you do your Weiterbildung?
Right.
Did you?
And don't expect to, like, and that's also something that I think people should realize, is that when they come to Germany, let's add on to that, what you said in terms of points they should overcome the challenges, to know how you're doing to get those promotions. Because in Germany, they're not going to tell you when you're doing something good. They will only tell you when you're doing something wrong.
That's very true.
So I would be very, very vocal about, you know, asking like, hey, you know, am I doing okay? Is there a reason, like, where I can improve X, Y, Z? Because honestly, there's a lot of decision making that happens in the background, and you're gonna you could be confronted with a situation where it's like, actually, you know, this is just not working out.
Yes.
So
that's very true.
Yeah.
And also in Germany, if I'm not mistaken, you do have probation in the sense of you work for maybe, I don't know how long it is, it's usually a couple weeks or a couple months or even like upwards of a year. And they basically judge you on how you are working. It's the same in the United States as well. And if they say, well, after this probation period, we didn't really like you, you can scoot on out. We don't need you anymore. I think just the easiest and best thing to do advice is to just be humble.
Yes,
humble yourself.
absolutely.
And also understand that you are coming to a country that is usually most likely totally different. Even in the European Union, Germany is totally different. A lot of Europeans complain about this, how difficult it is to come here, get everything transferred over. And so even from people from this area, they say it's difficult. You as a foreigner, like a real foreigner, are going to have an even more difficult time.
And you know, a point I want to add on to that, and I really appreciate that you say that people should be humble, because there's this attitude that I think a lot of people have, like, oh, I have a master's, X, Y, Z, I have this, that, the other, therefore I deserve.
Yes.
No. When you come to Germany, you have to win, you have to work and get these, and get the respect. And honestly, I think in your moments of being humble, learn the language. That gives you extra cookie points. And that differentiates you from other foreigners as well. And I came here, like I said, I have a master's degree, and I worked basically as an English secretary, and then I went to a basically kindergarten, and I learned German. And now I'm actually applying for social media jobs, and I'm getting calls back now. So basically, so what she said about being humble, it took me about 1.5 years to be humble, to learn the language and get entrenched into the culture. But there are pros and cons that are associated with that. So what advice would you give to Hayley of 5 years ago so that she could better prepare to excel in the job market in Munich?
I think I would have, in the beginning, chose, let's say, an Ausbildung, and I would have started that ASAP. I think that would have been, my life would have turned out a little bit different here, but then I just think to myself, maybe I wouldn't have my YouTube channel then, maybe, and I personally like the route that I took, but I do think if I would go back, I would maybe pick an Ausbildung and start it as soon as I got here. I wanted to be an Erzieher. I did this, or I was at least applying to do this, and then I realized after working in kindergarten for so long, I was like, this isn't for me. I don't want to do this no more. I'm gonna stop, but... So
you would have basically gotten, you would have gotten the certification that you think, so to avoid like the going back and forth and switching industries, just to be able to say, okay, I actually have it. I can do it, and I'm talented.
Exactly, and this is like, I would have a safety net, I think. Because I didn't, and that's like the thing, I didn't have a safety net when I came here. Even like progressing here and living in here for an extended period of time, I did not have anything to fall back on because my education wasn't being accepted. I wasn't finding, I was finding a few jobs. There were a few job offers here and there that were not kindergarten related. There were a few customer service jobs, a few social media jobs, but then I was like, these aren't secure jobs. I can't grow with these, and I can't sustain my life with these jobs.
As everything around you gets more expensive.
I was like, so That's the one thing, just to have a safety net. And I think education is one of the best safety nets that you can have, especially in Germany.
What tips could you give to those who are considering moving to Munich, but are concerned about the job market, particularly now amid a global pandemic that in many ways is negatively affecting the German economy?
So I have the nice answer and the mean answer.
Okay.
So the mean answer, I'm going to start off with the negative, is going to be don't come here if you are not prepared.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know, and it's to prevent people from wasting other people's times, their own time,
And
their money,
yes.
their everything, because it is a very expensive move, especially in Munich or any major city in Germany. It is a huge, trek to get here, and it'll cost a lot of money. And the thing is, a lot of people, they think that they have the ambition and drive to be successful and all that good stuff, but it can only take you so far in Germany. Of course, ambition is good, drive is good, but if you don't have all of the checkpoints matching up, you are not going to.
I agree.
You are not going to be successful, which is only going to cause you stress. It's going to harm you. I mean, might it harm Germany in some way, shape, or form? Maybe in a sense, but it's just harming yourself. So I try my best. I used to be in the beginning, tell people just come, try it out. I think that is for some instances, like being an au pair. I'm all for being an au pair. Try a year if you're young, you want to experience a new culture, you want to be around people that will generally care about you for the most part. Be an au pair. But when it comes to uprooting your life with no particular direction and you have nothing really to offer yourself,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it, especially if you're not putting in the effort to learn the language, to integrate. That's what I tell people as well, because people are like, oh, well, I don't want to learn German. Then why do you want to come here and find a job here if you're not trying
to learn it?
Yeah, if you're not trying to be a part. And so that, I think, is the negative. Yeah, the negative. It's like, please come prepared. And then the positive, let me think of how to word this as well, would be, if you are a person that is prepared, and if you have all of these things, come and work your ass off.
Okay.
And you will, and you will most likely find a happy, comfortable situation for yourself. Like I said, if you have everything and you want to try something new, why not? Like you're gaining a lot from this. I do think that coming to a new country, trying to set up shop here, trying to experience something else, even if it's for a year or two, you were successful, you had a successful job, you had a successful career, and you realize 2 years later that you don't like it, you can leave.
You can leave,
But you still have that awesome experience for yourself, not even for your career, but just for who you are as an individual, to experience what your life is like outside of, let's say, your home.
So I think what she's also is hinting at, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is just don't just come to this country and just sit.
Yeah.
Come, get involved. If it works out, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at the same time, take as much as you can from the opportunity. We're not here trying to discourage people to come to this country. We're just being very honest about the struggles that we've had moving here, because Germany is very open with a lot of its immigration frameworks for many people from different countries. But in reality, the bureaucratic BS that you have to go through to stay here, to get a job, a high-paying job that is over 2,600 euros per month, you gotta come prepared to work.
With your A game.
Ausbildung. You gotta speak German. It's a lot. And if you're not ready to make those investments, you may wanna consider coming to Germany when you are.
If you realize that you're going to fail, or if you realize that your life and, I don't know, the trajectory that you are on is not successful, also leave. Because it's most likely going to make you resent Germany, make you unhappy, and cause, a very negative impact on you, your mental health. And I always say, if there's a sinking ship, you should always jump out. And a lot of people, they hold on to this dream of, I want to be in Germany, or I want to be a foreigner. I want to be, what is it now? Emily in Paris. Everyone's like, I want to be these people, and they're grasping for straws. I mean, if you do see yourself and you really want what you're working for, but if you're working at something that isn't even what you want to do, go back, maybe collect some more experience, maybe collect a degree, and then maybe try it again. But don't keep hitting a dead horse that you know isn't going to get you anywhere, or it's not going to provide you the life or the lifestyle that you want in Germany.
Yeah, and you know what? I really appreciate that you said that, because honestly, there are many people that I know here in Germany who had this like dream of coming to this country and, you know, and just really killing it and slaying and just having the German dream or whatever. But there are a lot of people that are in positions that they either wouldn't take up in the States or wherever they live just because they want to be, they're just in love with the idea of being here. And they're not happy.
No.
They're not happy. And both of us don't want that for you. We don't want that for you. So I think what you said is basically, it's true. You know, you have to, if you realize that you are at a dead end, don't stay at the dead end because the life, it's getting expensive to live here in Germany. A lot of people say that like, oh, you know, we live in Munich. It's one of the most expensive cities in the country, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, Berlin is getting expensive.
Yep.
Hamburg is getting expensive.
Frankfurt.
Right,
all
Frankfurt.
These, yep.
I'm telling you, it's getting really expensive living here in Germany. And yeah, like, so if you realize that it may be easier for you to go back to the States or go back to Canada, New Zealand, go back to Nigeria, get your education so that you can come back stronger.
Yep.
I highly recommend that as well with Hayley.
Yeah, and focus also on learning the language maybe, or, you know, just getting skills that you now know are necessary to live and succeed in Germany. Get those in a foreign country because also Germany, regardless of what people want to say, they do look at these types of things as well. They look at your experience like, oh, she's American this or that. She's done this in the United States. She's done this in another country. She went here. She traveled there. She worked for this company at this place. They do look at these things. They do notice these things. And so it's better to just make you more, how do you say?
Marketable.
Marketable. And it also makes your life more comfortable here. Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for your answers.
You're welcome.
First of all, you know, I really wanted to have someone who is a veteran here, basically, in terms of what it's like to move to this country, someone who has experience in it. And I've been here for about almost 3 years. This is my 3rd year coming up, and we wanted to have an honest conversation. There are a lot of people on YouTube that will say a lot of stuff just to basically be like, Germany is this, Germany is that.
Just to get views.
Just to get views. We really want to be honest about what it's like to get a job here. I mean, both of us are not saying that it's all, you know, peaches and roses. It's not. It's hard work. You have to work your butt off. You have to be ready to face German bureaucracy. So we wanted to make this video to let people know that, hey, during this moment of you know, ambiguity with Corona, you can still plan to come here, but have a plan.
Yep.
Do your research. Don't come empty-handed. I came empty-handed, and I was in an exemplary case because I think I had a huge support community. But for people who don't have that, Germany is a country where you need to have your stuff together.
Yep.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing this message.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, guys. So Hayley, you guys are probably already subscribed to her channel. Almost at 100,000. You have 96.5.
No, I don't even know.
No?
I think it's 94, y'all. I don't know when I'm gonna. One day I'll hit 100,
Give
y'all.
her 100K, guys. Okay.
One day.
So thank you guys so much for watching this channel.
Yes.
Comment, like, subscribe, share this video if you care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Cheers.